Okay, so I've got kind of a different thing I'm talking about today. So we're at the cabin this past weekend, and Ike hurt his leg a little bit. He's doing a lot better. He's still in rough shape. I mean, he's an older gentleman. He's probably 11, but he's a big guy, 90 pounds. So he's been through a lot. He's had hip surgeries on both of his rear legs and mouth cancer, and anyway, lots of porcupine attack, things like that. So I was very worried about him this weekend, so that's why I didn't record anything yesterday. And anyway, I'm trying to keep him calm and quiet. And that means just basically sitting in the same spot, not moving for 12 hours, not doing my skincare routine because he usually follows me into the bathroom while I do my routine, and just trying to keep him stable. So I had over the last 3 days, countless hours just to look around online. And I did, and something that started to stick out to me, and it was comments about mold in a lot of different skincare products. And I did some more digging on it, and mold in skincare and makeup products seems to be not as uncommon as I would have thought. I'd heard of some brands having issues with mold. Let's see, one of them being Herbivore. This is one, I'll link to these, but this is my brand new Herbivore Blue Tansy Max Spoil. Look, this is what it looked like right upon opening, and you can see it looks like mold, and it's not uncommon. A lot of Herbivore products have been commented and questioned, and cleansers and serums from Herbivore because they don't use a lot of preservatives in their product, because they believe preservatives are bad. So they forego them, and instead what you've got is a moldy product that spoils very quickly. And anyway, so here's another one. This one looks a little different. Does anyone know what these white lumps are? I bought the La Roche-Posay Effaclear Ultra Concentrated Serum, and notice these white things inside. To me, I wouldn't use that. I mean, it looks like mold or mildew or something like that. Although La Roche-Posay, they're a bigger brand. They're not like Herbivore where they don't use preservatives, but you never know. And here's another one, a lip balm. And this could be mold or gelling or crystallization issues, but that's another one. It looks pretty gross, and I would not definitely put that on my lips. That's for sure. And I just found tons of examples of this. Here's one from a month ago, and they think there's little black specks in their CosRX lip balm. And some of these might be harder to see from my phone because, anyway, so hang on, there we go. Bring me back up. Okay, so anyway, so I thought this was interesting, and I thought, man, I have to mention this to people because, anyway, when we require or we demonize a lot of preservatives, such as parabens, then we end up with people that are afraid to use preservatives at all, or we end up with preservatives that are actually really irritating, like methylxyzilone, which is actually very, very, very irritating. Here's another post about Herbivore with black specks at the bottom of it. So, I mean, these are crazy. And how can you prevent mold from happening? You know what? You got to use your products. You know what? Make a note when you open them. Here's another one. The Glow Recipe Blueberry Bounce Cleanser. That was another one I heard a lot about with mold in it. And people took photos of it and then emailed them and got another one returned. So a lot of these actually happen to be, some of these are makeup. The Patrick Ta Dimension 2 palette, those look pretty iffy to me. Another one, there's no way I would be using that. And this is a newer product that just came out, and they had opened it and saw the mold spores. However, that could be a possible thing of contamination. I mean, this one looks like it's just been opened. Well, maybe been used once or twice. Now that I look at it, if you don't wash your brushes on a regular basis, and you use them on your face, and our face is covered with bacteria and microbiome, which contains all these different types of organisms, and you put that on, and then you re-dab it in the eyeshadow pan, and especially if you don't cleanse your brushes regularly, and I know I'm not very good at it. I try and do it regularly, but I know I probably skimp on it more than I should. So anyway, I think you should probably try and clean them like once a week, especially if you use a lot of makeup or powder makeup. Here's black specks at the bottom of a Biosun Squalane Omega cream. I mean, and the reviews online, a lot of these don't get actually posted to Sephora, or Ulta. Here's another one, an Anastasia Beverly Hills palette with some questionable looking substances in it. If you think there's mold at all, discard it or return it. Don't use it. And the fact that some of these people are questioning, like, do you think this is mold? Should I keep using it? Like, no, if you even have to question it, it's not worth it. Putting mold on your face is going to be a mess, especially if you have damaged skin or any cuts or things like that. It's just not good. And so we've demonized so many preservatives, and doing some research now on some cosmetic formulations. It's amazing how much there is to every little step of it. And even some huge reputable companies have had issues with mold, and it's certain things you just can't test for. There's a cosmetic formulator that says they like to formulate things assuming at least they'll last at least 10 years. But if you can't do that study for 10 years if you have a product you want to bring to market. So who becomes the guinea pig? It's all of us. And we all need to keep our eyes and ears open and listen to things, or check things out from time to time, or inspect things. If they look old, if you've opened them and it's been past a year, discard it especially. And this is also why I hate jar packaging, because a lot of these products with the mold and mildew were in jar packaging. You dip your fingers in, or even if you use a spatula, how clean is your spatula? It's not going to be better than coming out of a clean pump. This no matter what. A lot of these were jar packaging, jar creams. Not all of them, but many of them were, which is another reason I just am not a big fan of jar packaging, because it just increases every time you open it, or every time you go in to dig it out, that you're going to have a likelier chance of some contamination. We've demonized parabens, methylparaben, all of them. So a lot of companies won't even use them anymore, despite it all being based on one poorly done study from a long time ago. Parabens are not evil. There's a lot of other preservatives that are a heck of a lot more irritating than parabens. And I think about some of these other brands, like CeraVe is one of them, where a lot of people have great luck with it. And then there's a rather bigger percentage of people that just, for some reason, the products irritate them. I'm guessing they probably use a lot more preservatives than some other brands do, because CeraVe's from the time they're marketed, and so they come up with the idea with the product, they manufacture it, they market it, then it makes it to the shelves. How long later? How long does it sit on the shelf? How long does the customer pick it up and purchase it and have it sit on their shelf before they use it? And I have a feeling some of these beer brands probably use a heck of a lot more preservatives than some other brands do. So it's interesting looking at kind of formulating things from a different perspective of, it's a lot more tricky than I thought. You know what I mean? It's not just mixing this and this and this and this, stirring around, and there you go. I mean, it's percentages, math, chemistry, equations, all that stuff. So anyway, so I think and then the other thing is how products are stored. If you keep them in your shower, behind the curtain, that's a whole nother environment of wet, moist, damp, dark, where things can happen. So keeping things stored in your away from the bathroom altogether is good and going to be helpful, because that's where mold and things develop, in deep, damp, dark places. So it's just interesting that I've just noticed just a slurry of them come out recently about mold and certain brands, and Herbivore is one of the brands mentioned more often than a lot of other ones. So anyway, just preservatives are a good thing, I guess, is basically my point. And to wash your brushes and do all you can, and if you're even suspicious about it, it's not worth chancing it. I mean, because a lot of bad things can happen, and there's a lot of different types of mold, and some people are more sensitive to it, especially people with asthma or allergies. So it's not even worth messing around with it. But it's interesting to look at some formulators and how they think of it as a 10-year lifespan, because by the time, if it's a big company, by the time it's the idea of the product by the time it's actually mixed and the ingredients are bought and it's made, sits on the shelf, sits on your shelf, by the time you finish using it, it's years. And maybe 10 years isn't that far off. I don't know. I know I probably pack rat more products than I should. So it's kind of leading me to think maybe I should kind of start going through things and yeah, checking things out and using them faster or just not buying as much. If you don't buy as much, you can use what you have faster. So then it's always a good thing. So anyway, just totally random thoughts today. So I'm interested in hearing your thoughts about preservatives, mold. Have you ever found mold in a product? Yeah, so leave a comment. I love hearing from you guys and stay tuned for more tomorrow. Thanks so much. Bye, guys.